They were all scared out of their wits. They felt their hair stand on end. When Dustin coughed up blood, they were certain that Augustus won. Yet, in the next second, he'd exploded and died. That unexpected twist came out of nowhere. Looking at Dustin, everyone screamed internally, "What kind of monster is he?" Shock, confusion, anger, jealousy, fear. Various emotions crossed their faces. Although it was hard to believe, they had to admit that this young grandmother was going to shock the world. Thousands would submit to him. Under everyone's gazes, Dustin walked across the surface of the water toward the land. His complexion was pale, and there were still traces of dark blood at the corner of his mouth. But only Dustin knew that he didn't cough up blood because of Augustus. It was because of Septa Mortis. The poison was like a maggot in his bones every time he used his true energy. It would take the opportunity to get in. The more true energy he consumed, the more aggressive the poison. Watching Dustin make his way over, Cornelius was both excited and concerned. "Cerise, are you all right?" He was excited because his gang leader was actually a low-profile young grandmother. Even in the entire world, he was one in a million. He had a bright future ahead of him. However, he was concerned. If Dustin got some kind of hidden injury from the battle, things would become troublesome. In a life-or-death battle between grandmasters, one could easily injure one's core. It's just a small injury. It's nothing. Dustin waved his hand nonchalantly. "Good," Cornelius sighed. "You look like you got hurt pretty badly. Take this." Dustin flicked a red tablet into Cornelius' hand. "Thank you, Cerise." Cornelius swallowed it in one gulp. After taking a few breaths, the blood surging through his chest began to calm down. The effects of the medicine were shocking. "Reese, how dare you kill my master?" When Terry returned to his senses, he flew into a rage. A life or death battle doesn't just prove who is stronger. It also decides who gets to live or die. Dustin said indifferently, "Sir Augustus wanted to kill me earlier. Why can't I kill him? I'm going to take revenge on you for killing my master." Terry roared. His eyes were bloodshot. "Terry, don't say that," Phil quickly yelled. He was afraid. This young grandmother in front of them was able to defeat Sir Augustus, much less them. "If it's a fair challenge, I'll welcome it. But if you dare use dirty tricks, I'll annihilate the entire Doyle family," Dustin said as he looked at Terry coldly. The Doyle family stepped backward in fear. They looked terrified. It would be easy for a grandmother to wipe them out. "Cornelius, let's go home." Dustin no longer wanted to entertain this conversation and headed down the mountain. "Dustin." At that moment, Nikki ran up to him. With a guilty look, she said, "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'm willing to turn over a new leaf and listen to you. Will you give me another chance?" "Actually," she continued, "if you'd been honest with me sooner, none of this would have happened. We would have been great friends, don't you think?" If she had known earlier that he was a grandmother, she would never have chosen to betray him. "Get lost," Dustin spat coldly. His expression didn't waver a single bit. Broken trust could never be regained. "Dustin, I know you feel bad for me. For my brother's sake, get lost." Before Nikki could finish speaking, Dustin stomped his foot fiercely. An intense force of internal energy suddenly exploded, forcing her away. "Don't ever bring your brother up in front of me. You have no right," he said coldly. With that, he left. Watching his retreating back, Nikki gnashed her teeth. She was about to blow her top. Why didn't you tell me? If you'd revealed your identity sooner, I wouldn't have done that. This is all your fault. Give the Jade Maiden scripture back." Nikki shouted. Anger was written all over her face. More than that, she was overcome with regret. A leopard can't change its spots. Dustin's cold. Mocking murmur disappeared with the wind. "Madam Edith, what do we do now? Are we still going to massacre the entire Zephyr Lodge tonight?" One of the Jade Maiden Sisterhood disciples asked out of the blue. "Massacre?" Edith slapped the disciple. She yelled, "Are you stupid? He's a grandmother martial artist. How are you going to pull off a massacre? Do you want to die? The disciple cupped her cheek pitifully. She muttered to herself, "Wasn't it you who said you wanted a bloodbath?" Now that such a powerful evildoer has been born, the entire martial world will be shaken up. Conrad narrowed his eyes and let out a breath. He is a young grandmother. If not him, then who? Several founding members of the Glenstead Martial Arts Alliance also sighed. "Dad, what do we do now? Can we still get our revenge?" Torben swallowed. He was feeling weak. Well, Autumn was at a loss for words. Without his father in command, even if the entire Hill family joined united, they were no match for a grandmother. HMPH, so what if he's a young grandmother? He took the Septa Mortis. Without an antidote, he's going to die anyway, Spring said with a dark expression. That's right. The punk has been poisoned, and no medicine can help him. He only has 3.5 days to live, Torben said, his eyes lighting up. Sir Reeds, that bastard killed my father. He is also the martial world's public enemy. You cannot go easy on him, Autumn said as he shifted his gaze. The antidote to the Septa Mortis was with Ronald. In other words, Dustin's life was completely in his hands. I owe everything to Sir Paul. I will handle this matter fairly and not let personal matters affect my decision. Then Ronald shook his head and sighed softly. Although it's a pity, someone has to pay the price for this. In the evening, Dustin was quietly sipping tea at his table by the window of the Roseate restaurant. The Battle of Grandmasters shook up the two major martial arts alliances entirely. Various parties were thinking of ways to recruit him. This even included several overseas alliances. Of course, he paid no attention to those people, because today he'd invited Natasha for dinner. At that moment, the restaurant's doors opened. Natasha walked in elegantly. She was in a long black dress that complemented her complexion. She was wearing light makeup today. Her natural features looked even more alluring. Together with her unique aura, she was a stunner. Even though he'd seen her many times, Dustin was still as surprised as always. "Why are you staring at me? Am I not beautiful today?" Natasha purposely twirled in front of Dustin, putting her sexy figure on full display. "Of course, you're beautiful. Words cannot describe your beauty." Dustin nodded with a smile. "Haha, darling, when did you learn how to talk like that?" Natasha grinned. She had always thought that Dustin didn't get romance. She never thought that he'd saying such things. Did he finally learn? "I'm just telling the truth," Dustin said seriously. "Good, because I love hearing you tell me the truth." Natasha took a seat, still smiling. Then she took out a gift box from her bag and placed it on the table. "Here, this is for you." "Why did you get a gift for no reason?" Dustin was rather curious. He opened the gift box to find a beautiful brass lock. He was dumbfounded. "Natasha, what does this mean?" "A brass lock signifies a long-lasting love. I want to keep you locked down," Natasha said seriously. "What year are we in? You actually believe in this?" Dustin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "What, you don't want to be locked down by me?" Natasha deadpanned. Her eyes carried a hint of threat. That's more like it." Natasha smiled with a hint of pride. "Do you think I don't have control over you?" She thawed. "Natasha, why did you invite me to dinner today?" Dustin asked. "Actually, there is," Natasha nodded. Her expression turned serious. "The preparations for the Oakvale Company are done. I have to fly over to take care of the overall situation, so I wanted to say goodbye. So soon, I thought it'd take more time." Dustin was caught off guard. Natasha had mentioned this 2 nights ago. He just never expected her to do things so swiftly. "My family's situation is not great right now. There's already internal conflict, so I have to pick up the pace with the new company. When the time comes, I'll transfer all the funds here to there too. Avoid getting stuck in a muddy situation," Natasha explained. "It's good to be prepared." You can't put all your eggs in one basket. Dustin nodded thoughtfully.